Episode 19 featuring Jori Davis on the 9 Point Start with a Dream podcast. Hey guys, welcome back to the 9 Point Start with a Dream podcast. I'm your host, as always, Jacolby Gilliam. This episode, we have Jori Davis, international basketball player, and cool story with her because you can just tell how driven she is and just how she's big on kind of setting a blueprint for how she wanted her career to progress and how she wanted her life to evolve around basketball. So dope journey here. You can kind of learn from how she set a goal that she kind of helped her propel her each step of the way. So hope you enjoy, and here we go. So the question I start for everyone that comes on is, when you're younger as an athlete, what was one of your bigger dreams or goals you wanted to achieve?
When I was young, surprisingly, at 3, it was like I want to play basketball, and that was really, there was no set goal, which was maybe my one mistake. It was just like, when I'm older, I want to be playing basketball, and at that time, the WNBA wasn't really, out there how it is now. I was still watching. Jordan was still playing. I was still more so watching NBA guys. And, the WNBA wasn't as big, so, it wasn't that goal, like I want to play in the WNBA, but it was just like I want to play basketball when I'm older. I wanna travel and stuff like that. And so that was my main focus when I was really, really young. And as I got older, that goal was just to be the best I could be. And it was whatever I could do to get there. That's what I wanted to do. But really, I was like, kind of, as they say, laser focused on ball, and it took maybe a longer time for me to start to kind of branch out and see who I am outside of basketball, really.
So you said like 3 years old, you won the ball. So what about basketball, I guess, made you want to do that as a career? 'Cause I know, like you were saying, that the league wasn't that big back then, and so there wasn't really a lot of money in it. So what made you push you to want to pursue that sport?
Well, I mean, a lot of, my faith and, my faith in God and just the universe. I really feel that it was just kind of like my purpose. That was my first. I think that was where I was meant to go. That was where I was meant to go, down that path. And so I truly believe that to begin with. But, basketball just gave me that outlet. And I know many athletes say it, it's kind of cliche, but, basketball was really like that first love. I mean, I enjoyed it. If I was, practicing hard and it was tough, I still enjoyed the process. And so I think I just really enjoyed the process of getting better. I enjoyed being around people, which is something I still appreciate, and I'm grateful for that. So also being on a team sport was something I enjoyed, because I was the only child growing up. So I think that was also something I liked, because I was the only child. So now I'm on a sport where I'm playing with a group of girls and we're going after one goal. I fell in love with that, and that community part, and also, you know, reaching each goal, in sport and stuff like that. So I think that's what kind of got me connected um, to the game on a deeper level.
Awesome. So being from New York, so how is the course? Is it really like they say, people are just out there like every day, whether it's, rain, sleet, snow, people are out there balling. Is that true?
So I'm originally from New Orleans. So
Okay, cool.
I've been in New York only. I lived in New York during high school 3 years. So I started out in New Orleans, Louisiana. That's where I grew up. That's who I say made me. My blood is New Orleans, from the West Bank. And so from New Orleans, my freshman year of high school, we moved to London, England. So I went abroad to an all-girls school. And then after that, I was in upstate New York for high school. So I started out playing in New Orleans down south, and my court that I played on when I was young, before I started organized basketball, was a dirt court in the back with a goal set up on it. So um, that's kind of where I used to play, and just in the street, you know, in the street with my cousins and different people from the neighborhood playing. And the whole New York part of it, having those courts. we really didn't have that in New Orleans. We had some courts, but mostly it was really someone's backyard with a dirt court, or we're in the street playing, 3-on-3 or whatever it may be during the day.
Oh, awesome. Okay. So you went from like New Orleans, London, New York. So kind of having that ability kind of to travel, kind of see overseas, back in the States, how did that kind of help you progress your game?
It definitely gave me, I mean, outside of even basketball culturally, it was in the beginning a big shock, but now looking back, it was something that was amazing for me to encounter as a young woman, And so, far as my game, from a technical standpoint, going from New Orleans, where it's more, running gun, fast pace, um, more tenacious defense, than going to Europe, where the game is completely different. It helped me slow my game down a little bit, I would say, and kind of focus more on the technical side of my game. And this is my freshman year, so this kind of set me up to kind of take the best of both worlds when it comes to basketball and implement them into my game. And so that really helped me. And then when I moved back to New York, upstate, again, it's a different playing style, a different group of girls. And so I think it's just kind of made me a well-rounded player, um, not even just basketball wise, like I said, culturally. I'm able to kind of connect with and understand that, people are different no matter where you are, and kind of be able to uh, and engage with different, backgrounds.
Definitely, I think that's a good perspective, and like you said, it made you well rounded. So you're back in the States. You're playing high school basketball. What was what was in your mind? What was that next step? What was your thought on that?
Well, for me, getting back, coming from overseas, as you know, the summertime AAU is a big part of being recruited. So one of my fears was like, okay, I've been overseas, like my whole freshman year. No one knows where I am. I'm in England. Who's recruiting in England? They don't know where I am. So it was kind of like I've lost a whole year. My freshman year and freshman summer are gone. And so my focus was like, I just need to, for one, get through this transition of kind of moving all over the place and being in a new environment, and then just figure out where's the basketball team, where's the coach, and let's get to work, and let's just do what I do, really just do what I do, and the rest will come. And that's something, my parents always said, like, no matter what, Jory, just do you, and they'll find you. And so that was my focus, was just to keep working, and everything else will fall into place. And God willing, truthfully, it just started to happen my sophomore year. I had a great season. We won the sectional title, and it started out with small colleges that were from this area in New York, so Canisius and stuff like that. And then really, Syracuse was one of the earlier big schools that kind of saw me because they're right here. Um, and that was really my focus when it came to the basketball aspect. And then school aspect was always just to be a great student athlete from the start. My parents always installed in me to be a student athlete, and that was really it.
So I know like moving is like a part of life when you're a kid, because parents get new jobs or there's things happen. You have to move like either state to state. For you, it was like overseas to back to the states. So for any athletes kind of going through something similar, maybe they have to move because their parents got a new job in a different state. What would be your advice on how to go through that transition or that adjustment?
My advice would be, for sure, if you're an athlete, one thing I did was really kind of, basketball was my constant. No matter where I went, that was my constant. And so I think in a way it kind of helps me to really, increase my game, because I put that energy, or maybe that fear, or that nervousness of going to a new place into my game. And so I'd say, sometimes you can use the game as kind of your constant when you're going all over the place. My second advice would be to embrace it. Embrace it. Don't be scared, because the people you'll meet, and when you really connect and open your eyes to, look, I'm in a new place, but I'm gonna meet new awesome people. These are people that now you're growing your network. You're growing your network of friends and close companionship that you'll have for life. And now you can go back to New York, New Orleans, or wherever and say, I know someone there, I know someone here. And so it's a beautiful thing. It's scary because you're young. Young person, I don't think is really prepared for that, but it'll for sure make you a more well-rounded person, not just for you, but also for the world. Because now you're sharing these stories and you're letting people know, look, there's more than just your little town where you're from or just New Orleans. There's a whole world out there. So embrace it and kind of connect with whatever is your constant. So the family you're with or the sport you're playing, that can be your comfort zone, but at the same time, really embrace that change and meet new people, because it's amazing.
That's gold right there. Make it your constant. I like that.
Right.
So so you're balling out. You're getting some offers. So you say you like Syracuse, but then what made you choose Indiana?
Um. So what my stepdad did, he got basically kind of a sheet. We had a requirements of what I wanted. So we started out with a base. What do you want? What do you want in the school? And so we went with, okay, right now I want to do business. I wanna go long term with a group of girls. I want my freshman class. I want us to stick together, which goes back to that idea of community, and being around people for a constant time. And I wanted a big school that would get me to the next level, because my goal as I grew up, I for sure knew I wanted to go to the league. I wanted to play pro. So that was something, a staff that would help me get there. And, a good academic school for what I wanted to major in, amongst a few things. So we had like kind of a criteria. And as we picked schools that came on the list, if they had certain X's, too many X's, we crossed them off. They weren't going to be there. Um, and Syracuse had a great broadcasting, and they had a okay business school, and they were kind of early, and so we appreciated that. They had a good staff, and Syracuse is an amazing school. But then, Indiana came, and they kind of had everything across the board. And one of the coaches, Coach Wilson, he played at Minnesota. He was a guard coach. He coached Lindsey Whalen, who was in the WNBA at that time now. And so that met that big criteria of who would be on the staff to help me get pro, who could develop me. And Indiana had the number one business school, the Kelley School of Business at the time. And I mean, it was a big school, Big Ten. And so that everything met the criteria. Coach Jack was an awesome lady, and that's kind of how I based my decision. And there are a few things now looking back that me and my dad talk about we would add to that criteria, which is something I'm working on to maybe create for athletes. But the criteria, for the most part, was a good choice. Just when it came to that next level going pro, there were a few things maybe we should have checked off the list. But all things being said, it was a good choice for me to go to Indiana.
I really like that, the thought process of like you had a checklist. 'Cause I know a lot of us
Right.
we can get so trapped into the name that we kind of refuse to look at the other important factors of going or choosing school for the next 4 or 5 years. So very shout out to your dad and stuff for doing that. So once you got to campus, what was that like for you? Was it a shock to how the game changes, or was it just like I'm still at my constant?
When I got to campus, I mean, it was I was nervous, and there's always that mental part, like, can I really play at this level? but again, it was my constant, because I was so comfortable in connecting with the game because I had, like I said, I was moving around so much. Basketball was my comfort. Like, some people say it's a cliche, but for me, it really was that my comfort. That was my peace area. So, of course, there was some fear. There was a little bit of doubt as a young player going to the Big Ten. Um, and so, I had those things, but, once we hit practice, got those first couple practices out, it was like, all right, we're here. I belong here. I can play this game. And then from there, it was just adjusting to the college, the college life and being a student athlete at a high level D1 school. Um, that was pretty much it. I would say the hardest part was not so much the basketball, it was just the workouts. Because you go from high school workouts to these, they're almost professional trainers who you're working out with in a sense, and they're like pushing you to the max. And it's just like, man, that freshman year dealing with that in school is definitely a tough transition.
So on those days where things are tough, you got finals, you got exam, you got practice, you got the game the next day. How did you manage to, I guess, cope, or kind of how do you kind of manage it all mentally, I guess?
Yeah, that's where I say it's, again, it comes down to really building those relationships. And not every athlete has that chance to connect with their teammates early, but I really connected with my freshman class. Like I said, it was six of us, which was one of my criterias, was to have at least three or four, and it was six of us. And we really connected. We connected. We were all there for each other, you know, and that really helped me a lot. It helped me a lot because they were my sisters from the start, and when we had hard times, or one player had a hard time in lifting. So we knew, all right, I got you. We're going to help you. Or I had a hard time with the mile and a half. All right, run next to me, Jori. We're going to get through this, or whatever it may be. Or, oh, man, finite is killing me. Can you help me? And stuff like that. So that sisterhood that the freshmen had, that really helped me a lot, a lot. And I don't know what else there would have been there to really help me. I mean, our advisors to start when I got there were also great because they were ex-athletes, elite athletes. And one of them, Corinth, she ran track. And so that's another part I appreciate, and I would hope more colleges look to have advisors that were ex-athletes because she got it. And she would even wake up at 5 a.m. and do our field workouts, and she'd be next to me, and I'm a freshman, and she's like, come on, Jori, you got this. And this is my academic advisor, And so that was worth so much to me, having that core group of girls, and then your academic advisor who's with you, helping you not only just with the school transition, but now she's right there on the field helping you. That I appreciated that so much. And unfortunately she made a change after our freshman year, but I just thank God she was there for us that freshman year to get us through because she was awesome. She was awesome, and she got it because she was an ex-athlete. She understood it, and that really got me through that process.
That's clutch because that freshman year, I think if you don't really have that guidance, it can take you for a whirlwind because you have like so much freedom as an athlete. It's you have so much freedom, but so much restriction. So it's almost like
Exactly.
if you don't have. That's great that you had someone like that to really kind of push you to kind of keep it going forward. So, because in the end of the day, your goal was to go to the league, right? Or is there something else at the time?
No, like I knew I wanted to go to the league. I wanted to go pro, and that was the goal. Always, the goal was also to just get my education. But that was the main goal, and obviously throughout that is to maximize all the resources I had on campus. And at that time, the only big thing was get my education from Indiana University. That was it. So that was my two things I was focused on.
So for you, what did going pro mean to you? Like, what about being a professional athlete was like, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to be.
Um, I wouldn't say it was like I wanted that title. It was just that goal. That was the next milestone with being a basketball player. Because it went back from little saying I'm gonna play, and so it was like, it's not just playing. I want to be the best. That was also the young goal as I started to play as a young player. It was like, no, I wanna be the best. I wanna reach every level I can. And so going pro was that next milestone. That was the next milestone. And it was just like that was the goal. And that's where I wanted to get there. It wasn't about, oh, if I'm pro, I'm gonna be like this, I'm gonna be a star. That was never in my personality. It was just like I wanna be considered the best when it comes to this game and where I've been in my journey. And that was really it. That was really it. It was just that personal motivation within myself, and that was something I wanted to do.
Okay, I love that. I love it. So it was always about the mindset and just like the next milestone that I want to achieve. So once
Right.
you, you're at Indiana, you're balling out. What what was it like when it came down to your senior year and you knew that you were 1 year away from achieving that goal?
Yeah. So my sophomore year, we had a great team. We were a bubble team, but we had three seniors that were leaving. Once they left, now it was more so the ball was in the court of our coaches to recruit and get some other people on the team to help us replace what we had and get to that tournament. And for me, as I started to grow and kind of pay attention to things outside of just basketball in the business part, I realized like, look, you need to get to the tournament. That's that branding part. You got to get to the tournament so you can, be drafted and so you can be considered a top player. Because if your team isn't winning, they don't consider that as, you're a top player. And it sucks. And I really hate that process because, you know, you as an individual, it shouldn't be counted against you as how your team finishes. And so that was really the hard part I started to focus on. And I was just like, I needed to figure out how we could get the team better. And unfortunately, we didn't really get any big time recruits, and so it was tough those last 2 years. And I was just like, okay, I have to really do all I can do to get our team to get wins. How can we win? And that was just the focus. What do we have to do? Who do we have? How can I motivate the girls around me to win? And my senior year, I really had a meeting. It was 4 seniors by this time. It was no longer all 6 because obviously transfers and one player didn't make it. She couldn't handle it. And so now it was 4. And I had a meeting and I told them, look, all transparency, I want to go to the league. And they knew this. They knew this. They knew this was my goal. They knew that was now my dream. And I told them, I need you guys. I need you guys because I can't just do it alone. And so, I had that meeting and that was kind of like how I went into my senior year. Just trying to figure it out.
I got chills hearing that. I got chills hearing that because, like, I feel that's probably like a powerful moment for everyone in the room to kind of say, like, as a leader, be like, "Hey, I can't do this by myself. I need every one of you guys or you all to kind of come with me and let's go on the journey together." So I think that's really dope as a leader that you did that. So once you had that talk and with your teammates, what was that season like for you?
I mean, we had to talk. Everyone was on. They understood. And like I said, we had been together for a while, so those core players, um, two of those out of the other three that I was talking to were with me all 4 years. There was one of them had transferred in, but she was a senior. But for sure, the other two, they knew it. They knew it, and I mean, they were a little shaken up too, because shaken up also because they knew that was my goal, and I mean, every day, every game, they were like, whatever we got to do, we're gonna help you get there, and they were with me. But unfortunately, it takes more than just 3, 4 people. And, that season was still tough. I mean, I still had a good individual season. But as a team, we just didn't do as well. That's how it ended. But I did go on to still be drafted in the third round of the WNBA, that was the good part of it. But then there was also a other group of challenges that came afterwards. Before as that team, I think we finished, I don't know, maybe like 8th in the Big Ten. And so, it was just kind of like a disappointing season. But, I gave it all I could. And that's really all I could really do, was do everything I could to try and get us to win.
Gotcha. Okay. For you, your milestone that you had to achieve was to go pro. So once you achieved that, what was the next milestone you wanted to achieve?
I was drafted. And then at that time, I really didn't have an agent set, because, no one on my coaching staff really gave any guidance. It was like I was done, and then it was like, okay, they were out recruiting. Now I'm done. I'm not no longer, almost as if I was no longer a part of Indiana University. I was on my own. And again, we didn't have that culture at IU. I didn't have any past players that went pro, like if UConn, where I could say, hey, I'm about to go pro. Tell me what to do. I had no one. So I was on the phone actually trying to find an agent who would take me and sign me. And I'm drafted. And I actually, one of the managers for Indiana was the water boy for Indiana Fever, who drafted me. And I'm talking to him for advice. And he's like, you should go work out with the team, get a workout. So I'm calling them, trying to work out, before training camp starts, because, I have all the information when I'll start and signing the contract, and finally got an agent. And then, boom, a couple of days after that, I'm at the door, man. I'm at the door trying to get in to do the workout that's scheduled. And the assistant coach at the time, Stephanie White, she's like, oh, we can't do the workout, something, and so again, I'm nervous. I don't have no idea what's going on. No idea. A day later, they call me and I'm cut. I'm cut from the team. And I'm like, what? Like, I didn't even get a chance to start the training camp. Like, how you gonna cut me? And the agent that I had at the time, she didn't really know my story. She didn't really, I don't think, knew me. She just knew me as a player. And then it was just like, oh, it's crazy. The league is crazy. Blah blah blah. We'll try and I'll start looking for you overseas. And it was just like, okay, all right. And so I ended up signing my contract to go. I played in Israel. That was my first contract. That was near Tel Aviv, and I went with that. And again, my dad's like, well, you need to figure out, okay, what do you have to do now when you go here to get back in training camp? And, she was just like, okay, you got to finish top in scoring. Finish top in scoring. And I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And so that was the goal. That was the next goal, was to do what I had to do, play well my first year in Europe, and then get back in the league. And so that was the next goal.
Okay, so you walked to the door, and then she was like, you're out, and they were say, go home. You got a call, and they said you were cut. So when you got cut, what was the emotion you were going through at the time?
Oh man, I was it was bad. I mean, I was super emotional, super confused because again, I don't know what's going on. You know, what can I do? You know, what action can I take to go after what I want? But I don't know. I don't have a mentor. I don't have anyone telling me, okay, this is what we're gonna do. This is the plan. This is how we're gonna reach the goal. Because now this is no longer coming from high school to get to college or whatever. Now this is the real business part of this game, and I was lost. I was lost. And so, I mean, I was hurt. I was hurt. I isolated myself for a little bit. I mean, I still was in the gym, but um I was real hurt, man, because I didn't know what to do. You know, that feeling of hopelessness, that's what I felt. And then at that time I had an agent that I felt really wasn't interested. I was just another person on her list that, oh, she went WNBA, great. That's a good person to have on my list. Not so much me as a person and an athlete and what are my goals. It was just like, okay, another player. And that was just like whatever, man. And you know, again, this was my senior year, so my other classmates, you know, they were doing what they were doing to try and move on with their lives and figure out what their next step was, going through that transition, which is tough for all athletes. And so that was a tough period for me. But I got through it, and then it was just like, all right, get yourself together and go to Israel and do what you have to do.
Going through all of the emotion, was there ever a thought in your head that maybe the journey ends here? Like for
Oh,
basketball?
for sure. Because the other thing is you don't really hear much about European basketball. So you don't really know all the opportunities you can have over there. You know, and again, there's also that, okay, go in Europe, go overseas, what? Then for my mom going to Israel? Are you crazy? You know, like what? No. And so you're like, okay, is this it? This can't be it because I work too hard. I've been focused. I've been going towards this goal. I've done everything I thought I could do. I put that time in the gym. I was yelling out ball is life. I was doing all these things, and now it's like there's more to it than just being in the gym, putting in those hours, getting your shot right. And so I thought, all right, man, might be it. But thankfully, by the grace of God, it wasn't.
Love it, love it. So you've been overseas for how many years now playing basketball?
I just
Now,
finished my seventh season overseas.
7 seasons. So after I know 7 seasons, how has that been for you when it comes to, I guess, living out your dream? Because we say you're 3 years old. Your goal was to be a pro basketball player. So how has it been living out your dream?
Um, I mean, it's been amazing. I mean, you know, again, you know, now the professional side is a mix of business and pleasure in a way when it comes to the game. And it's been amazing to travel, meet a lot of people, see a lot of beautiful places. I mean, and then to do all of this while playing the game you love is been great. And I'm really grateful for that. I appreciate the opportunities that I've been given, and despite the WNBA setbacks and stuff, you know, it's almost like, hey, maybe it was a bigger plan, and maybe things were supposed to work out this way, but um, it's still, I still went on a journey that has been amazing, and kind of refreshing to helping me grow again, and in a way, uh, thinking back to England when I was 13, 14, my freshman year, it was like that experience made going overseas a little bit easier also because I had already went through that. I already went through that change of going to a new country and dealing with different people. And so all things, as you kind of look back and look at where you came from, it's like, wow, that experience helped me for now. And that's just kind of how life goes.
From talking with you, I can tell that you're just very driven. You see, you see the big picture, and you're like, hey, how do I take the steps to get there? So after so you kind of achieve that milestone of going pro. What's like your next milestone? You have to go into details, whatever. Just like what's like your next thing you want to as an athlete or as a person.
So, learning as I learn the business and still learning, I mean, there's still so much as a player you don't really hear. And so just kind of looking back on my experience, looking back on, okay, where are some areas that maybe I didn't know about, I wasn't knowledgeable about. It was kind of like, okay, I need to do something. What are the pain points when it comes to being an elite athlete? When you're going through all three levels, you're going from high school, college, and now pro. What are those pain points? And so for me, the next goal was really to figure out, okay, I'm probably gonna play maybe 5 years. I don't know. I'm capable of playing 5 years. What can I do to give back? Because the I knew coaching was there, but in my heart, I felt it was just something that was like, okay, that's the normal way you go. We play pro, then we go coach. And I was just like, that didn't seem completely right to me. I want to coach. I want to give back and help players develop, but that was almost kind of like a settling thing. I felt like if I did that, I was settling. I was just going a normal route. Like if someone graduated and go 9 to 5, it's like, okay, this is how life goes. And so I was like, no, I want to do more. I want to give back. And so the next goal is definitely to keep playing and keep doing the best I can, travel the world, but then also create. And that is create something to take all the experience I've had and kind of see what are things that the athlete is missing, and make it where it's readily available for them. So no one goes through the things I've gone through or go through some of the things that I know other players have gone through. And that's been the goal.
Definitely relate to that. Good stuff. So as you continue to progress in your career, do you plan on, to kind of keep, staying overseas? Do you want to eventually kind of just move back to the States or?
Well, I do love the Europe. I do love the international lifestyle. I don't know. I'm not a hater against, America. That's where I'm from. I love going home to New Orleans, but something about, I wouldn't say just international, something about travel is something I do want to continue. That's a lifestyle that I would like to have. And so, that's kind of been one of my things I've been dealing with, within my heart. Is like, okay, Jori, you want to stay international, or you're gonna go back to America? And I think long term, after I figure things out, I think long term I will have probably that international lifestyle where I'm living there, or doing something regarding to work where I can do both, where I can keep the same lifestyle I have as an athlete, but now transition into business where I can still do that type of traveling back and forth and kind of have the best of both worlds per se.
That'll be dope. And well traveled. You will be well traveled. So it kind of works on wrapping up a little bit. Yeah, where can people find more about you and where you're up to?
So right now I'm working on my website and getting all that settled, but for sure they can follow me on Instagram, JD32. I have my Facebook page, Jori Davis Evolve on Facebook. And then of course, just on Eurobasket, if you want to keep track of kind of my basketball career and where I've been and what I'm doing, Eurobasket.com has a lot of things on me. And for now, it's just more so keep an eye out for my website, working on that for my personal website. And also my company that I'm working on that's in startup phase, Weevolve.net, that'll be coming out soon. So a lot of things in the works. But that's kind of how people for now can keep up with me. Also on Twitter.
Dope. I'll add some links so people can go check you out as well. And when your website drops, let us know and we'll share it out for you. No problem.
For sure. Appreciate it.
No problem. Well, Joy, thank you for coming on. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll be in touch soon.
Oh, thank you. I hope you have a good day also, and I really appreciate you taking the time out, my man.
Thanks for checking out this episode of the 9 Point Startup to Dream podcast. I was your host, Jacolby Gilliam. If you enjoyed this episode, please comment, share, leave a review, let me know your thoughts. You can check out more about what we're doing with 9 Point at 9point.com. For the next episode, talk to you soon.